in the last section, we figured out how to use generators a little bit to set up some type of custom iteration through an object. Now, I know this generator stuff certainly seems kind of opaque and confusing, but trust me, this is one of those subjects where you just gotta struggle with it a little bit before you can finally say, aha, okay, that is where I should be using this feature. So at this point, we've discussed what a generator is, how they work, and how to use them for iteration. We're now going to talk about how to combine multiple generators together, and then we're going to talk about the kind of capstone subject, which is how to use generators with something called a symbol iterator. So again, we're going to talk about in this section about delegation of generators. I'm certainly not going to try to toss any fancy definitions of this out there. Instead, we're going to look at a practical example to see what generator delegation is. So I'm going to pull up a diagram really quick. And I want to just, let's start on the top here. This is kind of modeling the team that we're working on right now. Right now we've got an engineering team that has a lead, a manager, and an engineer. And so I'm going to add a requirement here. I'm going to say that in addition to our engineering team, I also want to have a testing team. So a testing team will belong to an engineering team. So it is a property on here, but the testing team is also going to be kind of like their own standalone thing as well. So a testing team is going to have its own lead and its own tester. And the reasoning behind this is that the testing team, maybe they are supporting multiple and different engineering teams. But basically this is kind of like what we've got going on here. So I want you to think about for a second, if we want to iterate through both of the teams here, both the engineering team and the testing team, and I want to iterate through all the employee names, how might we do that with our generator? Okay, like how might we approach that problem? So I'm going to first create our second team, and we'll say const testing team, because that's what they're doing. They're doing testing. And then inside of here, we'll have a lead of Amanda and a tester of Bill. Now we need to tell the engineering team who their testing team is. So I'm going to add on a key to the engineering team of testing team, and that's going to be the testing team. And I've got my order mixed up here. I'm going to put my testing team definition above, like so. Okay, so that's much better. So I got my testing team declared first, and then beneath it we've got our engineering team, and the engineering team knows that their testing team is the testing team. Notice that I've got a key value pair here where they are identical. So the key and the value are identical. If we wanted to, we could condense this down to just testing team like so. And if we're following good conventions, we should always move the duplicate key value pairs to the top of the object. So I would move it up to the top like so. But total side topic, you do not have to go through that step. Okay, so let's get back on track here. I now want to modify our team iterator right here so that it will also iterate through the testing team's members as well. Now there's two ways to do this. I could change the existing team iterator so that we can always also look at, say, like yield team.testing team.lead and also the engineer on the team, or the tester on the team. We could do that. That would be a value or a viable approach. But I'm going to suggest that maybe a more reusable solution would be to create a separate generator that will be tailored specifically to work with a testing team. So in that case, we would end up with both a team iterator and a testing iterator as well, or like a testing team iterator. And so that would just allow us to have a little bit more reusable code to make reuse of in the future, in case we ever want to iterate through just the testing team by themselves. So let's take that approach. We're going to have two separate iterator functions, one that will iterate through the engineering team, and then a second one that will iterate through our testing team. And so in the testing team iterator, we will yield the team's lead and the team's tester as well. So now this looks good. We've got our two separate iterators. We've got the one for the engineering team and for our testing team. But what if we really want to have a single for loop to go through all, both teams' employees, right? That's kind of the goal here. I want to have a single for loop, and I want to walk through all of my engineering team and also my testing team. So we need to figure out some fashion to kind of combine these two generators together, or these two iterator functions together. We want to just push them together and iterate through all of them inside of one for of loop. So let's continue in the next section and figure out how we might do that.